Hi guys, can you hear me?
Hi, welcome. Thank
Hi.
you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
I'm Christina Owen, and a bunch of us years ago in 2008 started this resource on the Palo Alto High School campus so that students could find more meaningful community engagement experiences by kind of crowdsourcing with each other, like what did you do and what was meaningful to you. And then we found out about just so many students initiating projects that then we
Yeah.
started developing this internship program. And so everyone on our board has done our internship. Okay, so I'm going to let them take it away.
Cool. Yeah, well, I guess just to preface it, it's a great honor to kind of like just get to talk to you guys too. It's really empowering to see fellow high school students are super involved in some of their own initiatives. As far as my own project goes, I know the Bay Area has like a pretty big, kind of startup entrepreneurial culture. And at my school, there's nothing really like that. And I go to like a pretty big public high school that's very STEM oriented. And there's no classes there's no economics classes, there's no business classes, there's nothing really for students, I guess, you're more interested in like the business domain, and economics in general. And so I first developed the pilot program for my nonprofit when I was a freshman. And so essentially I created this club at my school called FIBE Fellowship, and FIBE is just an acronym standing for Finance, Investments, Business, and Economics. But essentially the whole point of that, I guess, pilot program was to test to see if there's a real need for economic education in my own community in San Marcos, since I live in I live in a medium-sized suburb in San Diego County. But I guess most of my initiatives have really stemmed from that fact that my school, there's a lot of underexposure in my school, and a lot of students they don't really have as many opportunities as other students, especially those who are into economics and stuff. So that's why I started my own initiative, starting from a club that kind of later transformed into my nonprofit now. My organization has scaled internationally so far to like 6 countries and 5 U.S. states. So there's definitely a little bit of an international reach there. And so as far as international goes, we're developing chapters in like various programs, such as our 32-week open source economics curriculum, junior economic forums. We're bringing in guest speakers, and a lot of that is organized um, you know organized chapter by chapter. And our international chapters are doing that as well and teaching our curriculum and whatnot. As far as locally goes, we're slowly trying to expand our presence as much as we possibly can in San Marcos. And so right now, we're planning this huge book drop off program in our city, where we just donate economics and personal finance books to K through 12 youth around our city. And so again, San Marcos doesn't really have like these kinds of opportunities. And so essentially we're working to partner we're working to create like this huge program, equipped with like corporate sponsorships, hopefully get mayoral support, get press coverage, and then we just drive around and distribute personal finance and economics books to students who felt an interest for them and are just interested in receiving this book. So that's one of our bigger initiatives right now at the local scale. But there's definitely a lot of stuff that we have coming for the international level as well, on top of what we've already done. I think it's super, I guess, empowering to see like that there's so many students who love economics, and they realize it's so important right now, especially like given the climate where like we have presidential elections, and then you have like COVID-19, and there's all those looming economic consequences. I think it's just super important that like kids have this kind of economic acumen to help them make good decisions. Vote for people who write for them, vote for policies. And so I think a lot of my inspiration has really stemmed from that. So not only has it, I guess, been super like enlightening to see all these kids really love economics and use it to their benefit, but for me personally, just meeting students all across the world and just getting to interact with students, learn from their cultures, and learn more about their communities as well. And so, for instance, I have a friend in Fairfax, so like Los Angeles, and so I got to know him through this, through my project. I met him through this other leadership academy I did over the summer. And so he started a chapter at his own school, And then it was really interesting to see where he was coming from, that there weren't any, economics classes at his school, and a lot of students, I guess, turned to crime and drugs and stuff like that. And so I think all in all, it's been really great to just meet new people, from whether that be like locally, nationally or internationally, and just kind of get to know their stories and how potentially economics could kind of help them with their lives. From this entire process is just learning how to manage, um, and like learning how to meet new people, and like really investing in like human capital, I guess. So like looking at who would be committed, and I guess it's interesting to see that component as well among like the youth and like people around our age. And so learning how to like manage other people, delegate tasks, properly manage your time. I think these are all like basic skills I've really learned over these past several months, really just building this project, and just really trying to scale it. I think I've learn tons about like learn tons about management, learning more about the way people interact with each other and like how that might affect, I guess, the inner workings of an organization. And then hopefully in the future, I want to use like this knowledge I've kind of gained from, building this thing from the ground up, to hopefully apply to future ventures too, whether that be if I start another nonprofit later down the line. Even though I do I plan on working on this nonprofit for a while. But if I want to like start a new nonprofit or start another business venture, I hope to kind of use those skills that I've learned and apply them there as well. Yeah, again, like just meeting new people and kind of being able to learn all these skills. I think just combining all of them into one is really great. But like I think not only has it had a really huge impact on me, I think it's had a huge impact on like my teammates as well. Um, and I know I don't really speak for myself, because like a lot of students in my community, they don't like none of them really go into entrepreneurship. There's no students in my city that have really, I guess, started a nonprofit before. So like I think I'm one of the first in my city for sure. But I I guess it kind of adds my own personal development as well. But just being able to kind of like lead that movement a little bit and inspire more other students in my community to potentially like pursue more non-traditional routes has been, I guess, personally fruitful for me too, I think. Definitely, I think, I mean, I really strong interest and passion for like economics, and like entrepreneurship and all that, and pretty much the entire business side. So I think being able to kind of incorporate my interest, um, to economics, and being able to kind of share that knowledge is something that's, that's at the very core of what we do. It's just incorporate economics, and share like practical applications of this field that students can actually use. And so for me, I'm more interested in the practical side of economics. I know a lot of students are, some students might want to go into academia, do academic research in econ and stuff like that. Um, but most students, for the, I know I don't speak for everyone, but I think for the most part, students really enjoy learning about why it's practical, and not really like technical jargon, graphs, formulas, stuff like that they don't really care about. And so I guess my interest in like the practical side of economics has really, led me to kind of co-create this curriculum with a couple of my friends that's really useful, and that's, really applicable in kids' everyday lives. And so, for instance, like as I mentioned before, like we have a 32-week economics curriculum. It's all online. And so, like for instance, one of like the meeting plans that we created is the idea of nothing ever being free. There's always an opportunity cost, and there's someone always has to pay for something. And so, oftentimes, politicians on both sides, they kind of claim to, I guess they try to like pander to their voters somehow, um, and try to mislead them. So I think that kind of economic literacy is important for both politics and for, for personal decision making. But yeah, I guess that's how I really tied in like the practical side of econ definitely into my organization for sure. I think, most of it, kind of like most of the questions and stuff that's really popped up for me during this entire journey has just been learning how to, accommodate the curriculum to like a global audience. And so obviously, since we have six chapters, in six different countries, and then we have 11 in the states. I think it's really interesting for me to kind of learn and challenge myself to question, the effectiveness of our curriculum, and if we're doing a great job with it, if it's something that can be applied at a global level, obviously, with like every school is different. And so because every school is different and every country is different, it's different, or it's difficult to, I guess, create a curriculum that's entirely inclusive. And so something that's been on my mind lately, especially in regard to the curriculum and all the different programs, is bettering our programs to make it more inclusive for a global audience. I think for sure, well, definitely, I plan on working on this for a long time. It's not something like, that I plan on just abandoning right when I graduate. And so I think a lot of the long-term goals I plan on kind of like working on in regards to this project would be working on more sustainable ways to equalize economic education access. So I think, the curriculum and all that is very good. And hopefully we could kind of extend that. But my hope is that we kind of turn this into something even bigger than what it already is. And so that kind of comes through like advocacy efforts, petitioning and doing, I guess, grassroots work to petition for economics classes at local schools and local school districts, in kind of schools like mine that don't really have that. And then also partnering with various, for the students who are interested in academia, we don't want to exclude them and kind of leave them out of the picture. So hopefully for students who are interested in social science research and economic research, one of my long-term goals for this organization is to also partner with various university departments to get more students involved in academic research within that field, especially behavioral economics, since it's one of like the newer economic subsets, and that's something that's been a particular interest of mine as well. So yeah, I think those are two main efforts. I hopefully that we're really going to work on following graduation to make sure that our organization is sustainable, and not only is it impacting students in their own schools, but it's also really spearheading change in school districts as well, so encompassing a larger scale. One thing like I definitely touched on was just optimizing our curriculum to make sure it's inclusive for a global audience. I think that's number one. Number two is also expanding our social media presence. I mean, we mainly use Instagram and we don't really have too many followers on there quite yet. So I think in order to kind of reach more people and reach more students, it'd probably be a lot more beneficial to have more people focus on the social media aspect. So that's what we've been doing recently. So I reached out to a few students, one in China, one in Dubai, and then I believe one in California. And so these students are all kind of working together to collaborate on hopefully pushing out more social media content in the coming weeks, and really engaging more students. So I think, yeah, definitely working on curriculum, making it more inclusive, and expanding our audience to high school students and below, so K through 12 youth, through our Instagram and social media outlets is very, very important to us. And also potentially engaging adults and including them in the picture as well through LinkedIn. I mean, we do have a LinkedIn business profile for our organization. So hopefully we can kind of engage the younger generations and Gen Z through like Instagram, and then engaging like adults through LinkedIn and whatnot too. So the tangibles that we've kind of recorded to make sure that our organization is making a real impact. And so again, like all our programs and initiatives are pretty much being implemented through our chapter system. And so far we have 17 chapters in 6 countries and 5 US states. I believe I mentioned that in my application as well. So those 6 countries being the United States, Indonesia, Zimbabwe, Australia, United Arab Emirates, and India. And then the 5 US states being California, New Jersey, Texas, Florida, and Washington State. And so yeah, they're spread out all over the place. And then we've actually recently raised 2,430 recently. So we got we were approved for a $2,000 grant from SDG&E, which since you guys are in the Bay Area, you might not be so familiar, but it's like San Diego Gas and Electric. So we actually got approved for a $2,000 grant from them. And then we had received a $250 mini grant from the Power of Youth Challenge from America's Promise Alliance in combination with Charles Mott Stewart Foundation. And that kind of helped us to fund our website. And then we've gotten 4 individual donors to donate so far. and I believe that totals up to like $180. So not much, but we've definitely gotten some more traction in terms of financial engagement with our organization. And then there's a couple other tangibles as well. But we've also we have like a TikTok that I personally don't run, but one of the people on our team had run before. But reached like, I think I felt like maybe 1,100 students on one of the videos. And then we also have that's also in combination with our member count for the chapters as well.
Oh, that's exciting. It sounds like it's
Yeah.
a really cool organization. It sounds like you're putting a lot of work into it.
Yeah.
That's all the questions that I have for you right now. I think Miss Owen is going to talk about like the tangible documents that she may or may not have been able to see.
Yeah.
So excited. I love hearing stories of students initiating projects to solve problems. And so you've done just that. The one question for you. I know we are planning on sharing, we're starting this award to share more of what students do. So we're planning on sharing information about your project on social media. And I think we mentioned when students apply for the award, we want to just make you aware that we plan on sharing information about your project. And is it okay that we share any parts or all of this video as well?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I mean it's good for everybody.
Right.
And you're the first video that we're doing. We hope to get more in the coming weeks. But by way of those documents, I guess that's a kind of a technicality. I just want to we're also a certifying organization for the President's Award, and we've been doing that since 2000.